Hey guys, why did I pause? Welcome back everybody to another champion concept video. I know it's been a little bit since I've made my last champion, not because I haven't had any ideas, but I've been working on some other content. I've been really having fun reviewing other people's content, as well as making some other videos for my another YouTube channel that I'm working on with a bunch of my friends, which I'll talk about in a different video. It's not really that important at the moment. This champion concept actually is really cool because we created this in the last about 2 or 3 weeks. This concept actually came from, I believe, a gentleman by the name of Demo, who actually commented on another one of my champion videos asking me for an anti-shield, anti-healing support. Just sort of a kind of as an overall idea. And I thought about it for a little bit, and this is what came out of it. So hopefully you guys like it. Like always, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think of the champion concept and what champions you would like to see me do in the future. So like I said, this video actually comes from an idea of one of my viewers gave me to create an anti-healing, anti-shield support. And I was thinking about it, and I came up with a few ideas, and this is one I landed on with NeMedus. NeMedus is how you pronounce his name. The Nightmare Under the Sands. So in my other videos, I've always posted the lore, which will be down in the description below if you guys want to check out the lore. Pretty interesting. He does reign, reigns from the Shurima area. You guys will have some backstory there that falls in line with the normal League of Legends stuff. Now, before we get into the full champion here, I do have sort of a breakdown of him. So NeMedus is a six-arm being. With this, he has a very unique sort of style. So he is considered a fighter support. Very cool because there's no such thing as a fighter support right now in the game. With this, I had to make some very interesting adjustments because there's a real reason why fighters are not played in the bot lane as a support champion. For one, they need a lot of items. They need a lot of items to be able to do a lot of damage. And two, they're not very durable. So most fighters, you think Xin Zhao, you think Fiora, these cannot be played as supports. So why would I pick a fighter as a support? Well, biggest thing, I have to add a lot of utility, some different sustaining tools that will make him durable enough to survive. Now, NeMedus is a very good counter to the likes of healing and shielding supports. So the Lulus, the Jannas, the Sorakas, the Sonas, the Tarics. He's very good into those, but he's also really good into tanks. And you'll see sort of why once we get into his actual abilities. I think you guys will enjoy it. But this is sort of just a breakdown of NeMedus, his design with his different arms. So he has 3 sets of arms. He has a top set, middle set, and a bottom set. And this is just kind of explaining what each set sort of does. So his top arms, he is equipped with something called hook blades. Basically, these are just blades that have a giant crescent hook on the top of them. And these blades are going to be used for CC abilities in his kit. You then have the middle arms, which are equipped with these claws that he forged from ancient Shurimic metals, casted with his own hands. Gives him a very monstrous look, and they are very, very, very deadly. Then you have the bottom arms, which are equipped with daggers. These daggers are dipped something called bloom blood, which is a living plant that I created that lives. It grows in certain parts of Shurima underneath the sand, and the actual nectar in this plant, when it comes in contact with the bloodstream, it actually slows their movements, which you'll see in, one of his abilities. This kind of goes into that. So I just wanted to give you guys sort of a breakdown of what his design actually is. So far, I think design-wise, it'd be really cool to have a fighter in the bot lane. Also, someone who has multiple arms, I think, is a kind of cool feature too. So the passive is called Dervic Beam. After auto-attacking an enemy 3 times, auto-attacks will begin to apply Reaping Wounds, inflicting anti-healing regen to targets with additional stacks, slowing the target by 60%. So, once you have hit a target 3 times, think of it as like a pressed attack, he will inflict Reaping Wounds. This will slow down healing regeneration, so very similar to Grievous Wounds. Has max stacks from 2 to 8, and this scales with his level. If you're not taking damage for X amount of seconds, the targets inflicted with Reaping Wounds will now be converted to Reaping Scars, which lasts for 15 seconds after combat. So, you have Reaping Wounds, you're being attacked. Once you get away, the Reaping Wound will then convert into Reaping Scar, or Reaping Scars. Additionally, NeMedus will begin to fill up a meter underneath his health once he starts applying Reaping Wounds. Empowering his next ability and giving him an extra effect on his empowering his next ability and giving him extra effects on his next abilities. This meter has two sections that can be filled, granting 2 separate abilities as bonus. Unleashing a empowered section will place the next section on an 8 to 4 second cooldown, and auto attacks on minions deal extra damage with low HP. So there's a lot of stuff in that. So first of all, this passive inflicts a version of Grievous Wound. We didn't explain Reaping Scars yet because it goes into another ability, but this will apply a Grievous Wound type of effect, which gives you a lot of good trading potential in lane. Also a slowing effect, which is really, really nice. Auto attacking will allow you to build up a meter, sort of like a rage meter that Renekton has or Shyvana has, and this will allow him to empower his next ability. And you can fill it all the way up, and you can actually do it twice. So these also decay slowly over 10 seconds if you're not using them. So basically, if you stack up 2 whole stacks, you have the ability to use both of them within an 8-second span and get some more damage off whatever you're going to do. This ability sets up his kit very, very well, and you'll see why. But this is sort of the cornerstone of his kit or why he would be so dominant in the bot lane. So the first ability is called Dagger Precision. This has a cooldown of 6, it goes down to 3. Very, very low cooldown ability. Range of 500. Max charges he can hold is 3 to 5. The skills are level. This is an angled skill shot. NeMedus throws a dagger from each one of his bottom hands. 1 action counts as a stack, so he throws 2 daggers. Since he has 2 hands, so that's 1 stack. You can hold up to 3 stacks. So at level 1, you can hold 3 stacks. 3 stacks is technically 6 daggers. So just do the math. Dealing physical damage. Daggers pierce through minions and monsters, so he is able to hit people from behind minions. Empowered. Daggers mark targets with Reaping Scars, which allows NeMedus to auto-tag a target to reopen Reaping Wounds. This is one of the effects of Reaping Scars. The fact that you are able to attack somebody with Reaping Wounds, then they will open. Then once that is done affecting them, it converts it to Reaping Scars for the next 15 seconds. Well, when they're not in combat with NeMedus. You hit somebody with one of these Qs, it reopens that scar, turns it back into a wound, and then the whole thing sets up again. That's a really, really strong effect. Numbers wise, it would have to be adjusted to make sure that it wasn't broken, but this is a very easy way to just instantly counter healing supports. So you're playing against Soraka, this will allow you to consistently put down poke on poking bot lanes. So it gives you a good counter tool to be able to just set up some damage, just slowly take away their healing, make them drain their mana a little bit faster, just some things to give you the advantage in lane. Also, you can have up to 5 stacks, so you have 5 abilities that you can cast within 30 seconds. It's a lot of damage and a lot of utility that you can use in lane and in just team fights in general. All right, so the second ability is Extra Hooks. This has a cooldown of 15 to 11 with a range of 675 and is also a skill shot. NeMedus uses his top arms equipped with hooking blades. NeMedus tosses the hooking blade from his left hand, as I specifically said left. There's a reason why. So tosses it from his left hand, and then there's 2 different effects. So if he pulls a target with Reaping Wound, pulls NeMedus to the target, similar to the Nautilus Q, and then resets the cooldown on Reaping Wound. So Reaping Wound will just completely start stacking. It goes all the way back up to full stacks, and will slowly tick down again. Pulling a target with Reaping Scars, however, the target is pulled to NeMedus, very similar to Pike Q, and the target is stunned and Reaping Wound is reset. And as I said here, pull is similar to Thresh target range or Nautilus and Pike pull range. So already this ability has some unique abilities to it. You're able to either pull yourself to a target, or you can pull that target to you and stun them. So you have a few different variations of CC. Gives you some things to play around, especially you're going to make sure you're going to want to hook the right target. This also deals physical damage, which is, I put light damage. It's not going to do a ton of damage, just enough to where you have some ratios that actually could, feel like it's, dealing a little bit of damage. If the left hook lands on a target, NeMedus can reactivate to toss the hook from his right arm, having the same exact effect. So you would potentially have 2 Thresh hooks that you can use. This is just as long as you're landing it on an actual target. Minions do not count. It will not work on minions. You also, hooks do not go through walls, but can apply their effect to terrain, which means you can hook into terrain and then use your other hand. So this gives you a few different variations of CC. You can, one, use your left arm to hook into a target and then use the other one to hook into another target. You can hook into a target and then hook onto terrain, or you can hook to the terrain and then hook to a target, just to give you some different angles of CC. There's a lot of utility in this ability, and the fact you can pull target to you or pull yourself to a target, and you have a stun, and you can reset their anti-healing regeneration. There's a lot of different variables that go into this ability, but it is very, very strong. The skill cap for this ability would be very, very high, just because of all the movement and the different effects you have to worry about. But I think if put in the right hands, this ability could be extremely strong. Brings us to our third ability, which is called Crooked Slash. This has a cooldown of 18 to 10 with a 425 AoE range around NeMedus. So NeMedus thrusts his claws from his middle arms around him, dealing physical damage to all targets around him. NeMedus, his claws shred through enemy shields, shredding through 50 to 85% of total shields. Shredding an enemy shield will also reduce the cooldown of this ability by 40 to 60% based on level. The empowered version of this, however, converts shield damage into X% lifesteal for NeMedus, decaying for 4 seconds. So this has a few different options of being useful. So for one, you're playing against a shielding support, Janna, Lulu, whoever, casting shields. You can use your W to get into them, using this to shred those shields, even Karma. Also, if they've already shielded somebody, this will give you lifesteal. So now you're able to get lifesteal and apply a slow with your passive, and auto regeneration goes down, and it just there's a lot of, you see how everything kind of adds up. It's very, very strong. You can also use this against certain supports. So if you're playing against the Brahms, playing against the Leonas, the Nautilus, the Tahm Kenches, especially Tahm Kench, you're gonna be able to shred through his shield, and if you use this on him, now you're getting lifesteal against him. There's so many little variables that actually work. Very, very impressed with this ability. I think this could end up being a team fight changing ability. You jump in, everyone gets a shield, maybe from Locket or from a Karma. Just being able to AoE shred all of these shields, extremely strong. Now the percentage of shields could also obviously be reduced or increased depending on if it's not strong enough or if it's too strong, but just the fact that it can AoE shred is sort of the bonus. And this brings us to the ultimate, called Storm of Blades. This has a cooldown of 90 to 30, and this brings us to the ultimate, called Storm of Blades. This has a cooldown of 90 to 30, and NeMedus basically goes into a frenzy. He has these blades that are actually inserted into his mouth the entire time, where he doesn't really talk a lot, but he has these 2 blades in his mouth. So he grabs those blades and begins swinging all of his limbs around frantically, dealing physical damage per second. During this state, NeMedus has his movement speed reduced by 50%, and then also gains a X percentage of shield that scales with his attack damage. Storm of Blades will proc both Reaping Wounds and Reaping Scars consistently, as well as his passive. Victims cannot gain speed buffs during Reaping Wounds being in effect. That is also a thing once he gains his ultimate. You see, there is a lot of utility in being a support. His whole job is to stand on top of somebody, slow them, and get rid of their shields and their heals. Item-wise, you're going to want to build sort of probably how you build Pyke a little bit. I think giving him something else where maybe he gains extra attack damage from buying armor, or from just buying 80 items in general. That way you don't have to have a lot of attack items to really feel like you need to like you're being useful. But you guys let me know what you guys think. So with everything in this kit, you have anti-shields, you have anti-healing, you have slows, you have movement abilities, you have CC, you have damage, you have poke, you have a lot of different tools. Someone's probably going to say, well, he doesn't really have a weakness. Well, his weaknesses would be all-in bot lanes. You're playing against Brand, you're playing against Pyke, you're playing against... Pyke would kind of be probably a mirror matchup, honestly. But you're playing against Brand, you're playing against Vel'Koz. These champions are going to really tear him apart. For one, they have range. Two, they don't really care about healing or shielding anybody. They're just there to kill you. And that's what he's trying to do. But they're ranged. So they have a lot of tools that could, you know, potentially beat him. I think he could be played in other lanes too. He could probably be played in the top lane, possibly the jungle, but I'm making him sort of as a support and then kind of going from there. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you guys like this champion, if you think it's too strong, let me know. Also, like and subscribe to the channel so we can keep delivering you guys some awesome champion concepts that nobody else is doing in the League of Legends community. Actually, I don't think anyone's doing it on YouTube in general. So keep supporting the channel. I appreciate every bit of it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.